Apocalypse Gaming.
Hi there folks, welcome to part 2. So varnish is all cured, and what I'm going to be doing is applying 2 or 3 coats via my airbrush of AK Interactive's Worn Effects. As soon as that's dry, I'm going to be applying Vallejo Amarillo Intenso Deep Yellow. So some deep yellow on top of that, and then I'll start taking a brush and taking it all off. I have my paint prepared, again airbrushing, so looking for that milky skim milk type idea where we can see it starting to run down the side of the cup already. So the paint's prepared so that I can go straight in the airbrush as soon as that's on and dried. That way there's no delay, because the longer you leave something like this, the harder it cures, the harder it is to get off. But you also want your 3 layers so that it does come off. So it's just finding a balancing act. It's not a very difficult product to use, just as long as you follow the idea of get it on, put your other colour on, get it off. So here all I'm trying to do is apply a nice even coat of the Worn Effects fluid. Again, just get it on so you can see the dampness across the entire model. Once it's on, grab the hairdryer and give it a quick blast just to set it. You can let it air dry if you don't want to use the hairdryer, but again it just speeds the process up, and I like doing that. As soon as that was done, I whacked in with another coat, and then again out with the hairdryer. And then there will be a third coat. I can't remember if I actually filmed the third one. Yeah, I did. Third coat on and then off with the hairdryer again. And now all I'm doing is applying a nice even coat of our yellow, cover everything over. If you want, leave a little bit of shadowing through it just to make it look a bit worn as if it's already showing through it, or go for the full coverage. It's your call on how you want to do it. So that was pretty painless. We've got a good base coat now of the yellow down. I'm just going to let that dry for another minute or so, and then I'm going to come back in with brushes, toothpicks, whatever, and some water, and we're going to start agitating the yellow back off. I've got some different stiffnesses of brushes here as well, because slightly different stiffnesses will give us different effects. That's a stippling brush, an old paintbrush that's knackered, and then your cheap hobby style kiddies craft brushes. So 3 slightly different textures, and then the toothpicks. Might not use them all, but they're there, and better to have them than not need them, than need them and not have them. So starting with the silver brush, which is the sort of mid-textured one. Just wet it, and as we see, once the moisture's on, it's starting to chip up. So we'll just keep going like this and get off what we want. And if we keep it nice and moist, it's less hassle to take it apart. Now, we'll hit warp speed in a second for the Star Trek fans, or make the jump to light speed for the Star Wars fans. But one of them, you decide. See you at the other side. So now that we've made the jump to light speed, all we do is keep repeating the same process, stippling and wetting and swiping. Just depends on the brush you want to use, the tool you want to use. Different tools will give different results. That's why I've pretty much stayed with the 2 brushes here. The really hard stippling brush, which you see me stabbing into it, and then the softer old beat up brush, which I just take up a lot of water on, and then long swipes. The long swipes lift off the bigger patches, as we can see, and the stippling, when I'm stabbing it down quite hard, leaves those sharper, smaller marks. So just following that process through to the very end, and then we'll see the finished results. And by finished results, I mean just for this stage, we've got an awful long way to go yet. So there we go, one heavily beat up paint job now. So that's pretty much the first stage of the weathering done. So now I'm going to let this cure completely. so I don't damage it when I go on to the next stages. So cure completely, varnish on top, let that cure completely, and then move on. Okay, I'll be using satin varnish rather than a gloss varnish because it's just that in halfway house between we're matte and we're gloss. So nothing fancy to report here, just laying down nice even coats again of the varnish and then going in with the hairdryer to help cure it. Give it a few minutes to let the heat wear off, then whack on with another coat, again another good few minutes, maybe even 10 minutes it was between the gaps. After I've dried it with a hairdryer and back on with the even coats. Spraying still at the 30 psi's because it just gives a nice powerful even spray for what we're looking to do, because it's just a broad coverage of the actual models, all I'm seeking when we're doing this. Now if you wanted, you could leave the weathering there as far as the rust goes and go on and do everything else, but I'm planning to do a lot more weathering to this. Hey chaps, slight wee change of heart. Before I press on, I'm actually going to just put something on the windows so that if I do have any rust or whatnot running down, it will run over the windows. I don't need to repeat the process from I go on to the next stage. So this is what I'm doing now. So along with my main paint, I'll be adding some flow improver just to get my mix of my paint right and mix it up with a cocktail stick. So I'm using a Raphael #1 brush. I now prefer these to Winsor & Newton. I just feel the tips just slightly nicer to use than the Winsor & Newton Series 7s. So having been a long time advocate of the Series 7, I definitely prefer the Raphaels. They last just as long, actually they might even last longer for the way I paint. I'm very harsh on brushes. Very harsh on brushes actually, and these are lasting me longer than my Series 7s have lasted me by quite a margin. So it's literally just brush painting in all the windows, taking my time so that I don't go around and mess up any of the framework. Now rather than sit and talk and watch me paint all these windows, we'll go to warp speed. Hey folks, so having realised it'd be absolutely tediously boring watching me paintbrush by a bristle brush every one of these windows, I paused the camera and just thought I would skip to the final results after you see me doing the first window. So that's all the windows blackened down or dark greyed down because I try to avoid painting with black whenever I can. And whilst doing that process, I've realised it'd be absolutely crazy for me to go on and do the rest of the weathering until I've detailed up all other things that need some detailing, because the weathering will affect them. So that's what we'll be doing next, is actually detailing stuff. So getting the groundwork done, getting the wood panels that are visible there done, and things like that, getting the tyres done. So that's what we're pushing on to do next. So I think we'll probably call this the end of part 2, and then we'll move on with part 3, which will probably be the weathering by that point. Well, no, it won't be, because I'm at it again. It won't be the weathering, it'll be the detailing then the weathering. See ya, take care.